Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Millennial Smark, and I'm bringing you the slop, the whole slop, and nothing but the slop. And if there's anything to get out of this horrible, ridiculous ordeal surrounding someone like a Joey Ryan, who I'm no fan of, mind you, I'm no fan of Joey Ryan. I do not care for Joey Ryan. I don't like Joey Ryan as a wrestler, and quite frankly as a person, because from my understanding, he was one of the people that took part of this whole mobbing on people and going after people when they were down on their luck. So miss me, Joey Ryan, if you ever hear this video about me. Like, I'm not taking up for Joey Ryan necessarily. I mean, I am, but it's indirectly. This is more so talking about why you should not believe all women. And he is going to be our case study for today. Like I said, I'm happy, disgusted at his situation, but happy nonetheless, because it gives me an opportunity to give an example as to why you shouldn't do this. And more importantly, it gives me a reason to want to revisit the whole speak out movement stuff compared to when I initially talked about this stuff in 2020, 5 years ago. And Joey Ryan was one of those people that I discussed at that time, along with a Jack Gallagher, along with a Matt Riddle, along with a JD McDonough. Now, at the time, he was going by Jordan Devlin. It gives me an opportunity to revisit this. And what initially started this all off, apparently, was this initial tweet, mind you, right? Pretty much essentially saying that Joey Ryan, I'll leave all my links down in the description box below, was, and they put this in caption, exiled from the sport he loves in 2020, Joey Ryan is born again, the promotion right in its post. And it pretty much promoted the fact that Joey Ryan was going to, here, I'll read the article for you guys so we can have better context, right? So, Portland Wrestling announced on Facebook that the 45-year-old will appear at their August 23rd event in Vancouver, Washington. The promotion didn't shy away from the baggage and tied to Ryan's name, instead leaning into the controversy by promoting his return as a rebirth. Ryan was a fixture on the independent scene and had stints with WWE, Ring of Honor, NWA, and TNA Wrestling, but his wrestling career came to a halt during the Speak Out movement in 2020 when multiple allegations of sexual misconduct surfaced against him. These accusations made by several women included stories of inappropriate conduct and coercion. Now we're going to stop right there because we're going to get to the nit and gritty in regards to all that, but there is one more thing I want to discuss after that initial announcement that really brought this up to my attention as far as the surface level is considered, because not too long afterwards, a bunch of cretins come out of nowhere who know nothing about the situation, who didn't do their due diligence to do any research, or at least Google the man's name. I wish Joey Ryan never took down the initial video, because he had I watched that video from bottom to top when I did my first video on him initially back in 2020, where he debunked the absolute shit. He had text messages, he had receipts, he had literally every single thing you could have to debunk these women. He took them to court. They did not come to court. We're going to get into that in a little bit. But they still went out of their way to cancel the man. They went out of the way to cancel the man. They were saying things such as he's a sexual deviant, how you should not have any business dealing with a Joey Ryan, how there's no redeeming this man's name, even though there's no reason for him to redeem his name. Mind you, this is not me saying it. This is not Joey Ryan saying it. This is Joey Ryan providing context, providing evidence, taking the women to court, and none of them coming to their own defense to defend any of their talking points. But he still gets smeared. He already had his life initially ruined about 5 years ago, and they still continue to ruin his life. They still continue to do it. Apparently, after he did this, the Portland Wrestling whatever went out of their way to announce it. Some guy jumped on, I guess, the promoter, and he was like, "I have canceled Joey Ryan's flight. He will not be appearing at the August 23rd show." No additional explanation was given, but the message was loud and clear. The fans and likely talent weren't ready to welcome back Ryan. Now we get into the nitty-gritty as to what I want to discuss, which is the debunking in itself. Now, like I said, unfortunately, Joey Ryan took down the initial video, But there's a whole article, thank God, coming from Fightful of all places, gotta give them credit where credit is due, of allowing Joey Ryan, or at least writing out what he said to debunk each talking point. Once again, I don't have the video. Joey did initially have the video. He took down the video for whatever reason, maybe backlash, I'm gonna presume. And he explained himself, and I want to read this paragraph by paragraph so you guys can have a better understanding, and at least you can be educated on the entire situation regarding this entire situation. So it kicks it off like this. Joey Ryan, and mind you, link is down in the description box below. Joey Ryan released a lengthy video on Saturday night where he addressed 17 allegations against him pertaining to sexual assault and misconduct. Ryan went through each allegation and provided his evidence against the claims. Ryan, real name Joseph Meehan, begins by saying the video is for fans who have supported him so they don't feel shame or guilt. He notes that it's taking him this long because his therapist asked him to take a mental health break and his attorney asked him not to comment on the allegations until they were reviewed. Ryan also says he wanted to respect the speaking out movement, but he believes people should be held accountable. Ryan states, and I quote, "I have never had sex with a woman without her consent, and I have never acted criminally towards a woman or with sex." Ryan says he's been able to separate business with personal life and never used wrestling clout to get people to do what they want. He says he's also never been sexually charged in a wrestling match, but he uses the dick flip style because it's a proven draw and it creates buzz. Ryan knows there are a lot of allegations, but says a lot of them are just flirting and there are only, and I quote, 4 actual accusations of sexual assault. The allegations being pertained to allegations of pursuing the fiance of Prima or whatever and actively ruining his life. Ryan didn't know this person and it was never made clear to him that the woman had a fiance or a boyfriend. Now mind you, just to reiterate that again, an allegation of pursuing the fiance of a wrestler, I'm going to presume, and actively ruining his life. Ryan didn't know this person and it was never made clear to him that the woman had a fiance or a boyfriend. So a misunderstanding. The next accusation, allegation of assaulting someone on a Tinder date in 2015. Ryan wasn't on Tinder, and he would have been traveling with Candice LeRae in 2015 and would not ditch her for a date. This is his prompt, but again, no backing from anyone essentially coming after any of these claims. Another allegation of propositioning a fan to do a penis grab. Ryan says they are untrue and is always professional at the merch table, which includes a professional photographer and waivers. Says he can barely make eye contact with strangers. Okay. Allegation of assaulting Danny M in a bathroom at a wedding. Ryan says they made out in a bathroom and she performed a consensual sex act. The next day, she sent DMs and propositioned him for threesomes and more. Ryan doesn't believe if she felt assaulted, she would continue to pursue him. Another allegation of using mental health issues to sexually assault Danielle Matheson. Admits to confiding in her regarding issues with his wife, but that she pursued him. Admits to sharing a hotel room, but says it was her idea and has written consent of them sharing the same bed. Ryan also notes that she had to retract her allegations against Trent Seven, who, if you don't know, he was on NXT UK at the time when he was teaming up, I believe, with what's his name again? I can't remember Buddy's name. The one that's dating, I think he used to date Toni Storm at the time, but it's neither here nor there. I think he was Pete Dunne's. Tyler Bate was his old partner, but nevertheless, that's unimportant. Next allegation of assaulting a woman in a hotel room. Says they bonded over their respected separations and they shared a kiss that had her worried over people seeing it. They did shows together, and he took her on a date, though she was feeling sick. They went out, had drinks, and went back to the hotel room. When they began having sex, which Ryan believed was consensual due to the comments she made, but she began to panic. Ryan says he stopped and checked on her before leaving. As soon as she says stop, I stopped. Says they continue to wrestle each other after the incident. Another allegation. Allegation of using friendship to assault a woman. Says they are best friends, spend time in a hotel room together. They begin spooning and grinding. She didn't want him to remove her pants. She agreed he could remove his pants and she performed a consensual sex act. Says it's not true. He fell asleep, which she claimed. Both regretted it. Still hung out after the incident despite her claiming she was now afraid of him. Mind you, this is later on down the road where she claims she's afraid of him. Allegation of sending inappropriate DMs to Elena Black. Obviously, this is the former Cora Jade. Shows messages between the two that deny her claims of inappropriateness or him using power over her, which was a big deal at the time because they were trying to claim that Elena Black at the time was, I don't even know this to be true, but they were claiming Elena Black at the time was underage. Don't know what year they're claiming this to be in, but apparently, again, he has messages showing that she even claimed that it was inappropriate. Allegations of making Roxy, which you guys know nowadays as Roxanne Perez, feeling uncomfortable. An allegation from High-End claiming, or mind you, to be fair, I can't really say whether or not this is the same Roxy. Let me not make that claim. Although I know Roxanne Perez's name is Roxy of the Independents. It could be someone different, although I'm almost certain this is Roxanne Perez. I could be wrong. But nevertheless, though, allegations of making Roxy feeling uncomfortable. An allegation from High-End claiming Ryan booked Roxy on her 18th birthday. So this most likely might be the same Roxy, considering this is 2020 when he wrote all this. And he's saying that she's underage. Okay, this is definitely Roxanne Perez for sure. So she could grab his penis. Says it was a part of an LWA storyline that Roxy couldn't touch his penis because she was underage. But once she turned 18, he could be He could be Joey Ryan. Couldn't do the match in the LWA because of conflicting dates, so he booked her for bar wrestling. LWA date became free. They agreed to keep the bar wrestling date. Didn't mean to offend Roxy with the "I'm old enough to be your father" line, and says it was inappropriate to offer to make out with her when she turned 18. Says he respected it and she said no. Creepy as fuck, obviously, cannot take that away from the message, but notice how open that he's being currently right now at the moment. That's a disgusting behavior, especially if she was underage, obviously. All I'm saying is, look at the semantics, well, not the semantics, excuse me, look at the circumstances in regards to how much he's willing to at least concede to and admit to, even if it's currently making him look bad, which it does, because that's fucking disgusting nonetheless. But notice how he's actually making the claim, he's stating it, saying that he should have never done the storyline, it was a terrible idea, blah 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 blah, but he's noting it. Just saying, keeping it consistent. The next one, allegations of being inappropriate with Alex Garcia or Gracia. Says he misread signals, thought she wanted to hook up, made an attempt to hook up, but she said no. He respected her wishes, feels guilty because she was showing friendship. By the way, if you notice, outside of the Roxanne Perez one, almost all of these are fucking nothing burgers. By the way, just noting that these are all just, I regret having sex or regret dating you, and therefore I'm going to claim misconduct, until he disproves it with text messages and says, hey, this isn't true. Next one, allegations or illusion of sexually assaulting Alley Cat. Says they had consensual threesome, which Alley Cat allegedly bragged about. Says they wrestled at a later date and feels if she felt traumatized, she wouldn't be eager to do the match. Next one, allegations of being inappropriate with Stella and Aaron of Not Your Demo podcast. Says he was told it was a nude podcast and he called their bluff. He apologizes for offending Stella, but doesn't know if Aaron was offended because they later fooled around in a hotel room and will later exchange flirty text messages, which he does shows. Allegations of being inappropriate with Corinne in a car. Admits to being aggressive on the road while married because he only had one night in town and he wanted to make something happen. Apologized for invading her personal space and she accepted his apology. Allegations of invading the personal space of Charlie. Apologizes. Respected her no. Once again, admits that he could be aggressive while on the road. Allegations pressuring Vanessa Craven into sex and using his power in wrestling for personal gain. Says he's never used his power, believed the flirting was mutual, admits to invading her personal space during a kiss with how he used her hands. Says if he inappropriately touched her while filming the Candace and Joey show, it was because of how he had to hold the camera and because she was taller than him. Apologizes for the incident. Allegations of pressuring Jetta into sex after shows. Says he came on to her strong after a IPW UK show, but was never told to fuck off. Apologizes for invading her personal space, but respected her no. Denies trying to get into her hotel room in France because he has sex with somebody else that night. Allegations of being inappropriate with Kitten at a bar while she was underage. Freaked out when he found out her age and wondered why a 16-year-old was allowed at a bar. A 16-year-old went to a bar, hence why he hit on her, and then when he was told her age, he was like, oh shit, I didn't know because you are in a bar. Admits to inviting her to hang out after the incident because he didn't want her to feel traumatized. Allegations of hurting ex-girlfriend Victoria during sex. Says she's an adult film star who liked it rough. He wanted to be a considerate lover and do things that he wasn't always into. She once complained he choked her too hard, but didn't do the other things she claimed caused the relationship toxic. Throughout his run through it, by the way, that's all of the accusations, which if you can tell, all of them, literally all of them, which by the way, for the most part, I don't see anybody debunking any of this shit. For the most part, all of it was essentially, from what it looks like, either A, him just being a fucking playboy, which is essentially every fucking wrestler of the last 30 years before the Me Too stuff. B, him not reading the room essentially when these girls were essentially not giving him any room to want to hit on them, which apparently he respected. Again, in the initial video, he was showing text messages up the fucking wazoo, debunking all of this. The only bad one that I see is the Roxanne Perez one, when he essentially tried to do a storyline with her saying that she's underage, which is horrible. That's the only thing that I see that's notable and horrible, which he went out of his way, as he stated, to apologize for the entire situation, that he didn't read the room, that it was a terrible idea. He just wanted to take the extent of his gimmick and make it more deplorable than it was already considered to be at the time. That's the only one that I see that's actually notable and fucking horrible. But nevertheless, Ryan ends the video by saying the accusations cost him friendships from people who didn't reach out before they chased clout and blasted him. Also says it cost him his job at Impact Wrestling, who put out a statement saying they would investigate the claims, but they never did. He says Impact never reached out to him before releasing him via email. He claims his contract says Impact cannot release him for anything that took place before signing with the company, and knows all the allegations took place before he signed with Impact. He is still considering his legal recourse, but is considering to work on himself and is now connected with God, which obviously implies that you did something wrong, even though Buddy was showing text messages up the fucking wazoo, essentially saying all this stuff was, hey, this was consensual. This was consensual. This was consensual. She said no. I said okay. I left it that way. I walked away. He showed text. Again, I wish he never took down the fucking video where he's going over all of this, bro. It's so fucking whack that he did that, man. It's so fucking whack. But eventually he did go through and he wanted to do a lawsuit, and I think he made a video on this one also initially, if I'm not mistaken, but let me not speak on that because I can't really remember whether or not he legitimately did it. But this article says Joey Ryan has chosen to file a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against 3 women who named him during the Speak Out movement, as first reported by Heal by Nature. A multitude of women came forward during the Speak Out movement and accused Joey Ryan of sexual harassment and/or assault. These were the 3 main women pertaining to the video where he was showing text messages debunking all their claims, by the way. According to to the report, Ryan filed a lawsuit on September 24th, back then in 2020, claiming that these 3 specific women had false allegations against him, which damaged his reputation and livelihood. Hill by Nature obtained a copy of the filing, and as it reads, Ryan listed that he lost a great deal of social media followers and lost $3,000 per month from distribution and streaming services via Bar Wrestling, which is the promotion he ran. A loss of $3,000 per month from Patreon was also listed, as well as Twitch, Cameo, and wrestling booking losses. He then goes on to talk about how he was looking for $200,000 in economic damages, and Ryan was also seeking $5 million in non-economic damages, and the defendants must retract their statements, as well as inform any website that published the defendant's statements to delete what was published. Ryan uploaded a video to his YouTube channel addressing each of the accusations against him, which has since been privated on his YouTube channel. Oh, he privated. In the midst of these allegations against Ryan coming to light, he was fired from Impact Wrestling. Again, none of these, it's so deplorable how a man can actually go out of his way to address each of these problems, defend himself, and still have his reputation irreparably fucking ruined. And also, in the midst, I had to pause it for a second. In the midst of actually going down this, I just seen right now, apparently Buddy got actually fired from Disney World or Disneyland like 3 years ago because of this stuff following him. They never had to go to court because, again, he dismissed it. I think he dismissed it without prejudice, if I'm not mistaken, meaning he can actually go out of his way to legitimately refile the cases again if he wants to. And if I were him, I'd do it, man. None of these women had to answer for any of the stuff they did. None of them had to prove any fucking thing. None of them legitimately did anything. Joey Ryan showed receipts. They did not have to do a fucking thing. They didn't have to do a fucking thing but make a claim. Make a claim and sit back and watch all of it go down. And then it's plausible deniability because every other person made a claim, which, again, from looking at all this, just seemed like either they were already dating, they were exes, or they were vindictive for the most part. Again, this is not me necessarily coming to Joey Ryan's defense, but if they are not going to go out of their way to give any plausible deniability in regards to what they're claiming at that moment in time, then why the fuck should I give them the grace to believe that that's what they actually meant in regards to telling the truth? None of it, though. None of it. None of the claims that they make, none of the shit that they say have to be fucking considered under any circumstances whatsoever. And it continues to hurt this man to this very day. It's disgusting. It's absolutely, it's disgusting. There's no believing evidence. There's no believing man. It's just believe women. It's all believe fucking women. And again, I leave all my links down in the description box below so you guys can come to your own conclusion. Like I said, the only thing that I see that was actually deplorable was the Roxanne Perez one. Outside of the Roxanne Perez stuff, literally, I don't see anything wrong whatsoever with what Joey Ryan did. Again, I wish he had the original video up so you could see him actively showing the text messages and showing the back and forth conversations that he was having with these women, which is a complete contradiction of what they were stating when they initially came out on Twitter. I wish he kept that video up. I wish he would put it back up. But like I said, it is what it is. I laid it out for you guys. You can have this conversation amongst each other. Again, I can understand if you might have a hard time wanting to justify Joey Ryan because of his history in regards to wrestling and how much he's fucking bastardized it. But ignore that for this time being. Ignore all that and focus on the actual credible substance of what we're discussing right now at the moment, which is, why does this man have to have his life ruined when these women make accusations? There is no burden of proof put on them, yet Joey has to go out of his way to dismiss their accusations by showing text messages that prove his claim, and yet he still gets his life ruined. He gets his job taken away from him years after the event, and he continues to have his life ruined 5 years after the point when these women have yet to fucking prove anything to the contrary. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. As always, my name is Devontae, aka Millennial Smark, and I'll be catching you guys later. A deuces and a pea. Ice.